this was just mentioned, that about the high net worth individuals, that a lot of questions coming in for people who have lakhs and even crores stored in 2,000 rupee notes. And in fact, it's not about just high net worth individuals. Some people who make sales of their properties, they make them in cash, and they've saved a lot of that money in cash in 2,000 rupee banknotes. So let's say if somebody has 10, 15 lakhs or maybe even 50, 60 lakhs from their asset sale, from their property sale, how can they make that exchange in a matter of just around 100 days? Do you think that's possible?
So, Pranshi, I think the core of the answer lies in what Mr. Shah just said to you. If these are transactions of Benami in nature, right, and if there are transactions being done on account of, not paying taxes, then there's no way out. I mean, there is no solution. If you've had cash balances shown in your balance sheet in your closing, and you declared those as part of your assets, you could be possibly in a business which is cash intensive. I mean, let's not forget the fact that we have many businesses which are cash intensive. But that doesn't mean that they're stealing money by not paying taxes. So I think it's all a function of that. And I'll tell you, apparently, the original question that you also asked for the other panelists is that why some banks may be overriding this policy of KYC and taking some basic details.
Right.
Is also because I must tell you, as a former banker, I can tell you this. When I used to run a part of a branch banking network, there was, as a branch manager, when I was officiating on a few days, there were many transactions which would come to me, and we would want to verify certain compliances and checks and controls which were over and above the RBI guideline. And those were also driven by our global policy. And that had to be adhered to. And RBI always welcomes situations wherein if you've got adequate KYC norms. I mean, for example, for instance, Pranshi, imagine if I come and deposit, say, 20,000 odd rupees or maybe 50,000 or maybe 100,000 rupees in your bank account. For all I mean, it will come out as a Benami transaction.
Right.
So we need to know and verify. And it has to be clearly on paper to see. Now, does this kind of override the RBI policy? I don't think it does. But yes, I think to a certain extent, certain clarity must emerge, because there seems to be some confusion around, some forms are being accepted, some forms are not being accepted. If the RBI, in my opinion, can kind of set out a guideline to say that, look, for a particular transaction of one set of 10 notes of 2,000 rupees, there is no requirement as such, or capture some biometrics or something on, because in any case, if you're going into a cashier and you're depositing, the images are being captured, I must tell you.
Right. So
how they can get in certain technology to use it, I don't know. I mean, it could be a remote thought, but just a process around that, or just have clarity to the banks to say that, look, you just take minimalistic KYC documents.
Right. So we can agree that this could have been planned better with more clarity to banks, because right now what we're seeing, different banks are following their own policies. And Mr. Rana, if I can come to you on the last question, that as we mentioned, that banks have their own way of monitoring transactions as well. And the RBI has said that they won't be monitoring transactions. So what is the procedure that, according to you, banks will be following? And for people who might be making those very high value transactions, how will their exchanges be monitored without those documents or without those ID proofs?
Actually, a certain amount, more than 10 lakhs, if somebody is depositing a particular account, that is all automatically going to a specific agencies. And when it is a accounted money, you need not to worry. But only when you are telling that on property sale, if they have whether they can deposit the money. If that is accounted money, means they have given the tax, they can deposit. Otherwise, that will be a problem.
Right. Right. All right.
As my opinion, actually, RBI should not given this exchange policy instead of exchange, because now most of the people, they are having the account. So they should ask the people to only deposit this 2,000 rupees note to the banks only. Because then there will be a less burden, less exercise for the bankers also. Because for exchange of 2,000 notes, lot of 500 notes are to be required, and for transporting them and giving to the public, That would
Right.
be a big exercise for bankers for 4 months.
Right.
Already bankers, they have a less workforce, and
Right.
this additional job will be definitely a big job for them.
Right. So let's hope there's more clarity over the next few days over what banks are supposed to do. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for joining us with your insights and answering those very important questions. Let's hope the process for the next coming few days is even more smooth.